Jeremy Berg in Kalamazoo, Michigan, present. I guess will the other commissioners, I guess, right? We got to call out the roll, or I don't know how to do it, I guess, Sharon.
Yes.
So
We just call them. Call out the roll. Or I will. Dana?
Present in Kalamazoo.
John?
I'm here, Davis Street, Kalamazoo.
Dan?
Present in Kalamazoo.
Andrew?
Present in Kalamazoo.
And Eric Stuckey. You're muted. He's here and working on mute. Upper right corner of your picture. Click on the upper right corner of your picture. No, I can't do him.
mine's in the lower left, so I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he's got some help. There you go.
There you
Did I
go.
get it? All right. Nope, I can't.
Okay.
So we
So-
need Eric to say where he's at, right?
Yeah,
Kalamazoo.
there we go. And it looks like Carla's hasn't logged in yet, but she just may be late.
Okay. And is that it, or is there one more missing?
Oh, that's it. Carla's the one that's missing. We've got 6.
Okay, great. So do we need to approve her absence or no?
No, not unless we, I didn't hear from her in advance. So it would be an
Okay.
unapproved absence if she doesn't show up. So
Great. All right. Approval of the agenda. Do we have any changes to the agenda, Sharon?
no, I have no changes to the agenda.
Great. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda? And I would just ask the commissioners to make sure they state their name when they make a motion, so Casey can record it easier.
Andrew
So
Grayson
moved.
making, oh, go ahead, Dana, say your name.
So moved, Dana.
And Andrew Grayson seconding.
Excellent. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, hearing none, the agenda has passed. Introduction of guests. Do we have any guests that are not on the agenda or potential commissioners? I don't believe we do. So I guess moving on, just a reminder to let's keep our, let's try to stay muted if we're not speaking. All right, is there any public comment on non-agenda items? Was there any comments prior to the meeting that we would have received, Sharon?
We've got Dan and Amanda helping us with that, and I don't think
Yeah, there's no public comments so far.
Excellent, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
All right, let's do the disclaimer. Sharon, would you mind, please?
certainly. Historical, Chapter 16, Section 22 of the City of Kalamazoo Code of Ordinance states, historical preservation is a public purpose. To serve that purpose, the Historic District Commission is hereby charged with the following responsibilities. A, the Kalamazoo Historic District Commission is empowered to regulate work on the exterior of historic resources and non-historic resources in historic districts in the City of Kalamazoo, and shall otherwise have all powers invested in historic district commissions pursuant to the Local Historic Districts Act, MCLA 399.201, 1970, PA 169, as amended 1992. B, to regulate work on resources which by city ordinance are historic or non-historic resources located within local historic districts, including but not limited to the moving of any structure into or out of, or the building of any structure in an historic district. The following documents are available in the Community Planning and Economic Development Department located at 245 North Rose Street, temporarily closed. These documents will help assist property owners in understanding the responsibilities of owning property in a local historic district. MCLA 399.201, 1970, PA 169 as amended 1992, the Michigan Local Historic District Act, Code of Ordinances of the City of Kalamazoo, Michigan, Chapter 16, Historic District, the Secretary of the Interior Standards for Rehabilitation and Guidelines for Rehabilitating Historic Buildings, 1990, Standards and Guidelines for Kalamazoo Historic Districts, and maps of Kalamazoo's local historic districts. These documents and maps are also available on the City of Kalamazoo website at www.kalamazoocity.org/historic preservation.
Thank you, Sharon. Did we lose John? Do you see him?
I don't know. John, are you there? I don't know.
All right, can we keep going or
Yeah,
what?
we still have quorum, so we're good.
Excellent. All right, there's no old business, so moving on to new business. Could we have the person presenting the case for 714 Locust Street please come forward and tell us about your project?
Yes, this is Bob Noble, and basically, I've got an addition on the back, or kind of a vestibule on the back of the house with a peaked roof. Yeah, there you go. And if you take a look at picture number 3, you'll see that you know, it has kind of a flat portion on the roof there. Okay, as it slopes off to the right. I was talking to Sharon about it and everything else like that. It's been about almost 20 years or so, and the flat roofs are kind of hard to, well, they deteriorate faster than the regular pitched roof. I get, if you go to picture number 2, you'll see that there's a valley up there next to the bedroom window on the right, which a lot of the rain and snow and ice kind of forms a icicle down there, and that icicle will come all the way down to the roof of the house here, come off the porch, and you know, come off of the, yeah, right there, and even form sickles down there as well. So it's kind of a hazard. And as long as I have to replace the roof anyway, I was thinking about trying something a little different. And Sharon suggested a shed roof, which would be depicted in the I can't get at it from here, but if you go to the drawing,
I don't think.
take it down, right, a little further down at the bottom. Keep going. It's not there, is it? That's the other one.
Yep. So basically, the size of the addition would be about the same, but it would be a shed roof instead of the complex roof it is now, the combination roof.
Basically, plus on top of that, this unit here, this whole attachment thing appears, it has a slope in the floor toward the door, and it appears to be pulling away from the house. Okay, now this probably happened out of over 30, 50 years or however, but in order to level the floor, I was thinking of it maybe even just taking the whole darn thing down and replacing the whole thing. But if I do that, I'll put in a footing, because I'm pretty sure, I'm almost sure that there's no footing underneath the poles on this attachment. I'll go down 42 inches with a concrete pillar and bring that up, build everything on top of it. I cannot go any higher with the roof, you know, because if you look at picture number 2, there's a bedroom window up there. Okay, so I have to stay underneath the bedroom window. I can't go any further north, which is left, because there's a bedroom downstairs as well. And if I go over to the right of the house, which would be picture number 4, in that area, you can see there's probably about a foot or 18 inches till you get out to the edge of the house. Okay, so that would probably be the only size change that I might make in there, depending on, you know, on where it comes out, because there's a sidewalk that comes around there too, and I don't necessarily want to tear that up. So basically, it would be moving to a shed roof, or a lean-to type roof is what we call them in Wisconsin. in place of this one that's there, just as an option. Everything else would be the same. For the most part, I'd probably keep the door because that's a brand new door. And then I'd be able to wrap that thing in Tyvek as well, because it does get cold in there in the wintertime. The other thing I was thinking about doing too, or that I'd like to do is put some cement block underneath it as like a skirting, okay? Something in that area so that kind of block it off, keep the crap from accumulating underneath the porch, keep the animals out, and also add as a another insulating factor, because you'd have a dead air space there instead of one that the wind can blow through. So those are pretty much my project ideas.
So you would not be adding any windows, and the siding would still match the house?
That's correct. Yeah, I think there's enough light in there. There's a light. Well, the porch light had come down out on the outside, would come down, of course, but there's a light in just inside the door that I've got on a proximity detector, and that provides enough light for the building in there. Plus you got the light coming in through the door itself. And then behind this door, okay, if you open this door and go into the house, you get into the main house, there's an open doorway there as well. No door in there, I took the door out. And then it goes into, once you get past the steps, then it goes into the lower unit, there's a door there as well. So, so that's pretty much what it looks like. So functionally, I don't need or want, I don't think I want, because I put my my washer and dryer in that box, in that little box on the right. So I don't think I want a window in there anywhere. So I'd leave it the way it is.
I guess, is there thoughts? I mean, my initial thought is, I don't have an issue with this. I think for me, the deal is that we need a definitive plan to look at and approve. But I mean, is it going to be is he going to put in a foundation? Is he not going to, you know what I mean? It's like, to me, he might make the building 18 inches bigger. I think we need just sort of this is what I want to do, so that we can make a motion on it. At least
have the drawing?
Yeah, I mean, he did send a drawing, but it got lost somewhere in the shuffle, and I couldn't figure out where it went.
Oh,
but he did send a drawing.
Do you have an email address I can send it to? I can send you another copy.
I'm not sure I'd be able to get up onto the screen in here, but it's getting it from one to the other. Just my regular email address would do it. I can get access to that. But so okay. So, but yeah, he did send a drawing. I just was not able to. Here we go.
I mean, we typically want to see a material list, right? I mean,
I don't think I have a material list, but.
While you're looking for that, I was just going to add a note for the floor in there being at an angle.
Yeah.
I have the same thing with the attached. It's like basically we call it the mud room on my house, and I think it's because originally it was an outdoor.
Yep.
And like it hasn't settled or anything. That's just how they did it. So the water would.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyway, I'm not. So I can, I mean, the commission has the opportunity, the choice here. They can approve it in concept with, and have Bob come back next month, or they can approve it in concept with the change of the shed roof and up to maybe an additional 18 inches on the south end, and then leave it up to me to make final approvals. Because
can't.
you will have to have some kind of drawings for the building permit with the footings and everything too.
Yeah, I can't, I'm having trouble shrinking this down so I can get at what's under this page on my computer.
Yeah.
So I can't get to my, can't get to anything.
So,
And if I do, I'll probably hang up on you guys.
yeah.
Nice.
I don't have a 9-year-old in the house here to help me operate this thing, so.
I don't let them help till they're 10.
So can I confirm when you're talking about changing the roof to a shed roof, you're talking about having it run
Oh,
perpendicular to the side of the house. You're not talking about just connecting the dots between your existing gable and over the laundry room.
okay. Take a look at picture number 2, and to go to the left side of the picture over on picture number 2, and you'll see that there's a lean-to kind of attachment over there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that comes out about 3 or 4 feet, something on that order. It'd
Yeah.
be the same as that, except wrapping around the house on the other side here, and it'd be a little further out.
You're connecting from the gable down to that point you got your arrow on.
About here. So the new roof would run from, in picture 3, Bob,
Yeah,
from there over to here.
right.
But instead of being a gable and a flat roof, it would be a
Okay.
shed roof with this edge parallel to the back wall of the house.
Okay, yeah. So, are you going to do anything over the door, like facade or anything like that, to kind of give you some shelter as you're into the door? It's just going to be a straight shed, and that's that.
Oh, the drawing shows it as a straight shed all the way across. Okay,
Kind of like your front porch in the other picture.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is Dana. Is time of the essence? Are you going to start this next week, this month?
No, I hope to have it done sometime between now and June. So I got lots of time. It's not a big deal. I just wanted to get it out of the way. But I could start on it this month even. I've got, my builder may have some free time and stuff like that, you know, in his situation to start work on it. So the sooner I get approval, the sooner I can start on it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to happen before spring. I want to work off of his schedule. What I can do is, if you want to go to the next slot, I can close down the windows here and then email you the drawing and see if you can bring it up.
I can give it a shot.
Now that it's going to involve hanging up on you guys, so.
Well, would that work for you, Jeremy? If he just hangs up and sends me the drawing, and then we go on and do 415 Stuart, and then come back to Bob?
Yeah, we can do that. I mean, that sounds good. My preferences would be to see a drawing. I mean, I'm sort of interested in what the trim's going to look like. Is it going to look like that shed that's over there with the sort of crown? I mean, I think there's a lot of, and obviously, Sharon, you've got the ability to approve or
Trim is going to be very similar to the stuff that's there now.
Yeah, because this is, as far as I can tell from the documents I was able to find, there was not a shed on the back of this house. It was just a door and probably a small roofed porch of some kind, but it looked nothing like what we see here. So, because you can see it on the old Sanborn maps. So there was nothing here. So this is kind of an addition. It should harmonize with the house in the way that this little side porch here, that was probably the entry porch back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Not where we see it today. So this was originally a porch. And so, you know, this we considered an addition. So we need to look at it, but we don't need to hold it to the same standards that we would say the front porch or, a really historic part of the building.
And it's in the back of the house too.
Yeah, I think if we get that drawing, I mean, I guess it's up to other commissioners as well. I mean, my preference would be to see that drawing before we make them.
Okay, I'm going to close you guys off and close the window, email it to you, and then I'll try logging back in again.
Sounds good.
Okay, see you later. Thank you.
I just wanted to say on that one, you guys, that I would agree with what Sharon said. If it were the front of the house, I would feel much more strongly about the design needing some serious changes. But since what is there is already an after thought type of facade, and changing it won't be that big a deal. It's on the back of the house. I'd like to see if it were me, I'd put a little, gable over that door just because it would aesthetically be so much more pleasing. But
And maybe
that
keep
does
the
take, it does take a little more ingenuity, but he said he's got a builder. So, but anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Okay, so we will table that and move to 415 Stuart.
Hi, all. Thank you for having me. I have submitted with my client, we are looking to convert the existing attic space at 415 Stuart to a master suite for the owner, Chris Dillon. And with that, in order to meet egress code, because we do not have enough clear opening for the existing windows in each dormer, I am proposing to replace those windows with a casement style window that is very similar aesthetically to the existing single hung windows.
So Matt, I want to just be clear. The casement windows will fit in the same positions that double hung does now.
Correct.
And the mullion in between the two windows will still be there.
Correct.
Okay. We've had a couple of base or attic dormers where by eliminating the mullion, they just eliminated that as well. So that's why I wanted to ask that question. But
okay, yes, in the drawing, the Geldwin drawing there, they are mulled together. I would actually probably have those windows separated and do an on-site mullion to resemble or mimic what is existing.
Thoughts from commissioners? Any discussion?
I think the grid is paramount on that in terms of design on the house. You've got to have the grid to,
yes,
keep that authentic look on the front side of your house. So I think you pretty much got it figured out, Matt.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of wide for a casement, but I suppose, at least the way it looks, what's the dimension on it? 72 by 48, right?
Correct for the frame
The
size.
RO would be, yeah, okay.
So each
half of that.
correct. Yeah, each window will be approximately 33 inches or so.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
And we're talking about the dormer on the side of the house, right? Not the one on the front?
The front and side.
Oh, both of them.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, the front is east facing and the side would be the north facing dormers. The street facing side would be the window for the main bedroom, and then the north facing one would be a window for the bathroom.
Are those windows the same size as the ones in front? The ones on the upper dormer are the same size as the main living?
Correct, yes.
You're able to salvage any of those? Or are those pretty dry rot, or what's the condition?
The condition is, for the age, good.
Yeah.
Sharon had mentioned if removed that I would store them on site for any future homeowner if you want to convert them back.
Sure. And I was just looking at, looks like there's been some other windows that have been replaced there potentially on, on either side of the main entry there. Are those ones that you put in at some point, or those are just?
Not that I'm aware of. This
Yeah,
will be
Matt's
my first
Matt's
project.
the contractor, not the owner, so.
Correct.
So, yeah, I suppose you weren't around then, probably.
Probably not.
Yeah,
So,
well, to me, that seems like that's one of the things that is really paramount for the design of that house, is to have the grids there on the windows, and that's why it's easy for me to tell you what you should do with your money, but it would seem like those, I don't know, Sharon could tell me, if those other windows would have had that same matching grid, wouldn't they, Sharon,
The
or no?
replacements? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Probably. I think they do have the grid. It's just hard to see past the storm windows.
Oh, I thought that was the trees, but maybe that is in there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was a reflection of it. See, it looks to me, when I look at it, it looks like I see 3 windows that have the lattice, and then that one in the center doesn't, and the ones on either side don't, but maybe that's just a picture. Yeah.
So I wanted to add, I agree with what Eric's saying. My preference would be to get the grid to be the right proportion. It looks like they put it sort of halfway down the window, and the existing windows are asymmetrical.
Okay.
You can see that the grid in the pictures almost looks like a square, right? Like if we look at picture 4 versus the Geldwen drawing, they're rectangular.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
I do, yes. If I alter that slightly, and yeah, I do know what you're saying. So
yeah, I think that's
the
just
grill
part
should
of
be
it.
shorter in height.
Yes.
Yes.
It would be, it's, I mean, it almost looks like it's at 2/5, right? Instead of half. I mean,
Correct.
But, I mean, I would rather see that. I mean, they just, the ones in the dormer have a really nice proportion to them. And that's part of the character, is that asymmetrical double hung. But I fundamentally don't have an issue with changing the casements for the reason that you're doing it. I've actually had to do that a lot, so.
Okay.
Matt, are the grids are built into the window, or that's something you're going to do with like double-sided tape? You're going to actually make those custom, or?
I would have them from the manufacturer installed. And that was one question. Would you prefer to see them between the panes of glass, so an internal grill, or external?
I think as long as that look can produce that proportion, again, I would agree, that's what's really important.
Okay.
As far as an historic perspective, in my opinion.
Yeah. Ideally, we want external, because what we're looking for is the shadow lines that you'll get from the sun. And sometimes they're external, and there's also one between the pieces of glass. You don't have to go that far, but we prefer to be on the external.
Okay. No problem.
Yeah, I would say in a perfect world, we would get the sort of simulated divided light with the sort of fake, the bar inside the glass. I've actually seen where they can make a thicker check rail at the bottom of the fake sort of double hung to make it look like that. But I don't think we need that. It's nice. It's a nice to have. So. All right, do we have any further discussion?
None here.
I can't remember, do we do a motion and then see if there's public comment, or do we do public comment before the motion? I forgot.
Public comment, then motion.
Okay. Do we have any public comment on this case?
No public comments at this time.
All right, thank you. Are there any commissioners that are ready to make a motion or thinking about making a motion or want to have more discussion?
I'm happy to make a motion if we're ready. All right, so I'll move to approve the window replacements as specified. The windows may be clad or wood. I think we wanted to specify wood, right?
We do both. They're
okay.
replacement windows, so, you know.
Okay, then clad or wood, the plan substantially complies with Secretary of the Interior Standard 1 as minimal change to accommodate a new use. The commission approves the certificate of appropriateness for this project. Approval of any final details to be delegated to Historic Preservation Coordinator, including, I would think, the size and location of the mullions.
Thank you, Andrew. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right, thank you, Dana. We have a motion and a second, so can we have a roll call vote? Casey?
Dana,
I approve.
Dan,
Approve.
Jeremy,
Approve.
sorry, Andrew,
Yes, approve.
and Eric.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Great.
Good.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Okay,
you, sir.
so what happens now, Matt, is okey doke. Matt, what'll happen now is you'll get a letter probably tomorrow, Thursday, that approves it, and then you can go ahead and I'll approve the building permit as soon as it's submitted. Because
Okay.
I sign off on that. So,
Yep, and Sharon, you're gonna burn dog the mullion size, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
absolutely.
Thank you.
We're good.
Great. Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Are we ready to go back to, hold on, I forgot what it was. 714 Locust. Looks like Bob's back on.
Is he?
Yes, he is.
Okay, and I've got,
Oh, there
can
we
you see
go.
the drawings?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, I don't see him on my screen with you people, so I just wanted to check. So yeah, he did have really nice drawings here. So proceed.
You waiting for me or somebody else?
You want Bob to describe what he's doing here?
No, I think this is good.
You scroll down, there's other images here too as well.
Yeah, if you can go down to the next one.
Bob, the only thing I might suggest is that you still put some sort of a shed over the door itself, you know, something that's similar to the look that you have, that has a little gable.
Yeah.
Keep the shed the way it is and then put sort of a false, that'll give you a little bit of protection. It'll also be a design feature, but if you don't want to go that route, I would move to approve as is based on your drawings.
Well, I'm not sure, you know, if that would be how that would fit. But if you take a look at the roof line and the house above it, okay, there's that little V right in there where the valley where everything's coming in.
That's right.
Comes straight down from that, and it hits just to the left of this door.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's hitting the roof, and then it's bringing the water down to the side of the house and down alongside that window.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay?
no, I'm not saying change.
Yeah.
I'm not saying change your shed the way it is. I'm saying add an addition to it.
Oh,
a
it kind
facade
of
over
brings
the
something out
door.
in front here.
That's right. It only has to come out, 6 inches. It could come out a foot, but that'll then help push that water away from your steps and your doorway. Or
That's a
ice
good
and snow.
idea.
Yeah.
I like that because
It'll-
I like the way it looked before. Okay, I
Mhm,
like the look of the existing one better than I like the look of this, and that would help a little bit if I did. And if I bring it out, I'd probably bring it out about a foot or more because they're going to have about maybe a foot of overhang already in there. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
because that's going to come out a little past the
Yeah.
the edge of the wall, has to.
Sure.
So if I put a little dormer type thing in there, you guys wouldn't have a problem with that, would you? Or would you?
I wouldn't know. I would actually encourage it.
Yeah, just a little gable.
Yeah,
And then-
just a tiny one. If you don't have a look at the house next door, if you stand in front of the door of the back door there and take a right and take a look, you'll see a little one like that over Kenny's house.
Yep.
That he has back there.
Yep.
Yeah. If I do, I'd like to do something like that too, if it's not going to be too expensive. It shouldn't be. It should be pretty easy. And that'd give me something.
Right.
Give me a place to put my light. You know, I could put it on the edge of the door, or I could put it above the door. Either one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, appreciate you getting this emailed in. This is definitely what we needed. I would just encourage you when you go in for a building permit to get the plan and the elevations don't quite match in terms of the width of the addition. Just probably want to look at that before you go in for your building permit. But I think for what we need to do, this is exactly what we neneeded. So thank you. For
Okay.
See, and I learned how to do something I didn't do before, so this is good.
Did you get just kind of as a side note here and kind of off the record for the most part, did you get my picture that I sent you, Sharon?
Of this?
Of me.
Oh no, I didn't. No, I didn't. Or if I did, I lost it somewhere. It's been kind of chaotic the last couple days.
Well, it's probably next to where this is on your computer. So.
Probably.
Okay. So, well, I guess you got to vote yet, right?
Yes.
I move that we approve as is with the option to add a small gable facade there in front if that's what he wants to do when it's time.
Perfect.
I'll second that.
Okay. Is there any public comment on this case?
No public comments at this time.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. I don't know if we want to read the motion that Sharon had prepared. Just sort of gets the legalese in there, Eric, if you don't mind.
No, that's fine.
Can you bring that up, Sharon?
There it is, right there.
Yep, number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Would that be okay? Eric?
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I guess I am on mute. Okay. Yeah, no, I think that's reasonable. We could, like I said, throw in that some sort of acknowledgement if he wanted to change that facade as we discussed, then he'd have that option instead of being bound to just what's on the plan.
Okay,
That makes sense.
makes sense to me. Do we want to reread the motion, Sharon, you think, or we're good to go?
Why don't I do it? Approve the changes. Move to approve the changes to the southwest corner entry as specified, with an optional addition of a gable over the door to divert rain. The plan substantially complies with the Secretary of the Interior standards 9 and 10. The commission approved the certificate of appropriateness for this project. Approval of any final details is to be delegated to the Historic Preservation Coordinator.
Great, I appreciate that, Sharon. And I think was it Dan who seconded? Is that correct? Great. All right, thank you. Casey, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Dana,
Dana, you're on mute.
Approve.
Dan,
Approve.
Jeremy,
Approve.
Andrew,
Approve.
and Eric.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So Sharon, he will get a letter in the next day or two, is that correct?
Yep, exactly. And then he can get started whenever he's ready, and I will approve the building permit when it comes through.
Great. Thank you for coming and presenting today, Bob. Appreciate it.
I want to thank you guys for the work you're doing and appreciate your help with my house.
Thank you.
Stay safe.
Yes. All right. Moving on to agenda number 9, approval of meeting minutes.
I move to approve the minutes
All right. Thank you,
of
Dana.
September 15th meeting.
I second it.
Thank you. That was Dan.
Yep.
All right. All those in favor, say aye.
Hey.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Hearing none, the minutes are approved. Administrative approvals. Anything, Sharon, to share with the group?
No,
All right.
not really. It's things have slowed down, not unexpected. You either get frantic people this time of year or you get next to nothing. And I think we're doing the latter right now. So,
All right. Thank you. All right. Other business, review application from Ms. Warline to serve on the Historic District Commission. So typically, Laura, we usually have you talk about why you are interested in joining the commission and any experience you might have working in the Historic District or on a board similar to this. So appreciate you coming and look forward to hearing from you.
Sure. Hi, everyone. So I'm Laura, and as you see in my app, I'm a nonprofit worker in Kalamazoo, but I also am graduating college in spring. Can't come soon enough. But my degree program is public and nonprofit administration. So speaking to experience, a large part of that is urban planning. So while I haven't worked on a board similar to this, I have been able to study a lot of the historical preservation rules and regulations of Kalamazoo just through the geography department at Western. But beyond that, I mean, I live in Vine, so I live in the historic district, which is cool. I live right on Walnut. And yeah, I was just interested in kind of getting more involved in things that I see every day, especially after I went to the Inventory Kalamazoo seminar earlier about volunteering earlier this year. It kind of sparked my interest in getting more involved in the historical preservation of our city, because I think that's part of what makes Kalamazoo so unique. So beyond schooling, this is kind of my first step into that.
Great. No questions from the commissioners or Sharon? Can you guide us through what we're supposed to do?
at this point, just a discussion, you guys can ask Laura questions. She can ask you questions. You can ask us questions to Laura, like, I don't know, whatever occurs to you. We meetings average, I would say, usually lately they've been about an hour. A 2-hour meeting is a relatively long meeting. We meet once a month. Very rarely, back when I very first started this job around 2000, 2002, there were, every so often we'd have to meet twice a month, but that hasn't happened since like 2003, 2004, just because we had so many applications and that was the way we could handle it. So we don't have an awful lot of that. We do a training once a year, and that's going to be coming up at our January meeting. We'll be doing a training for how you make the decisions and the process that you go through. And we're also going to be really emphasizing what we call infill, new construction, because those 3 houses that burned down over on the north side, on North Street, those were in the historic district, and there are plans afoot to replace them with something new. And so we need to kind of review how you make a decision about what's appropriate for infill in a historic district. So you'll get the training, and by the way, we are continuing the survey. We're getting it started again next month, so you'll be hearing about that too. So do you have any questions for us, or does any of the commissioners have any questions for you? It's a 3-year term.
I guess my only questions really reside around expectations still, and it could be because this is just my first meeting, so I'm still getting my feet wet, but kind of what do you guys expect from me as a fellow commissioner and that type of thing?
Usually you'll get a packet Thursday or Friday before the meeting. It's doing, since as long as we're on virtual meetings, you'll probably get it on Thursday or Friday. And it'll just be it'll be an attachment to an email. Normally they'd be mailed out on paper and we would be meeting at City Hall. We don't know whether that's going to continue, whether we're going to have to change over in January or whether we're going to continue virtually through April. It's a big legal decision that I don't want to go into right now. And once you get the packet, ideally you go out and get a chance to actually look at the building and see it in person, because it's different than seeing my pictures. And then just come to the meeting and make motions and engage in the discussion and all those kind of things.
Yeah, I think today was a pretty typical meeting. To hear you talk about the time limits, Mr. Fletcher seemed to get them done a lot quicker than I can. So I apologize to the commissioners, but I don't know. It looked like, Andrew, you were about to say something and I started talking.
No, you're fine. Laura, I had a maybe one or two quick questions for you, actually. So you said you're graduating from college in April of this coming year, is that right?
Yep. I finished. I think it's like April 27th if we want to talk about like technical days. Mm-hmm.
And what are your plans after graduation?
So currently, I don't know if you guys know much about Humanities for Everyone, but it is a branch of the Kalamazoo Promise where I've worked for 4 years now. So ideally, if anyone wants to talk to my boss, would be offering me to come on full time after I graduate. But beyond that, probably sticking around and doing nonprofit work in Kalamazoo is my plan. I don't plan to leave anytime soon, but I mean, things could change. But like I was telling Sharon that I love Kalamazoo. So staying kind of around my roots is my plan right now. Mm-hmm.
And then my follow-up question, I noticed in your application, you mentioned that serving high barrier populations that are majority minority is important to you, and that you've done some work with diversity and inclusion. I was curious if you, and I realize I'm putting you on the spot, so no pressure, but if you could speak a little bit about how you see diversity and inclusion, access and equity, things like that, intersecting with the work of historic preservation.
Sure, yeah. So speaking to my work with that, I work primarily through the Promise with first generation or foster students, but in my volunteer outlets, I also work with a lot of refugee families in the Kalamazoo area, and a lot of them are living within the historic districts, and especially in rental properties. I think a big thing too that we see in growing cities like Kalamazoo is the loss of historical community that we see in a lot of the historical districts with generational housing and that sort of thing. So I think being mindful too about the power of community in these areas is super important. And I think that's how it kind of intersects. But also when we see downtown development start to push into historical districts and those type of things, you start to get into areas of equity and disparities and stuff. So I would say that's kind of where it intersects, for me at least.
Awesome, thank you.
So if you both sides have run out of questions, then what we generally do is ask the applicant to sign out, and then the commission will discuss it and either make a decision or not tonight, and then we'll let you know whatever the decision is.
Sure. Okay. Well, if that's it, then thank you everyone for letting me sit in.
Thank you for coming, Laura. Appreciate it. Appreciate your application. Thank you.
See.
There we go.
Okay, so now what, Sharon?
Now just discuss. Somebody can make a motion to make a recommendation for appointment. It's entirely up to you guys at this point, whether you think she'd be a good fit or not.
Yeah, I'm just curious. This is kind of unrelated, but in a non-COVID meeting, are our meetings broadcast or not?
No.
Okay, so just like this discussion is public, whereas normally it's not. Is that any
Correct.
issue or non-issue? Okay.
Nope. Nope. It's really a courtesy thing. I mean, there's no reason she couldn't stay here. It's just, and be in the meeting. It's just that, in my experience, the commission is a little more comfortable talking about someone when they're not there.
Human
What the-
nature, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I really appreciate your question, Andrew. I thought that was awesome. So thank you
Yeah,
for
excellent.
sort of ferreting that out for us. That was really great.
No problem. I guess so I have a question, a follow-up question for you, Sharon, and then I have a comment on that. There's no mechanism to go into a closed session for this group? Any discussion of an applicant is going to be a public discussion available and recorded for anybody to find later.
And to my knowledge, unless maybe Dan or Amanda can answer that for us.
I wouldn't know.
No, Dan is our helper here from the city, from IT. So I don't believe there's a way to do that because this is supposed to be a public meeting. And if there were other people just attending the meeting just to sit there and watch, they wouldn't leave. They would still be able to stay there in the room with us while we had our discussion and questions.
Well, then I guess I'll just ask my colleagues here, how did folks feel about her response to that question?
I thought she'd be great. I didn't see any problems at all.
I liked it. I was impressed. I thought she would bring a good perspective that we currently don't have on the commission.
I would move to approve or consider, or whatever the technical term would be. Let's approve her application or accept her application.
Actually, the term is recommendation for appointment.
Recommendation for appointment. So
There you go.
I would move for recommendation of appointment for Laura
Warline.
Warline. Thank you.
This is
Okay,
Dana. I would second it.
All right. Thank you, Eric and Dana. Is there any further discussion that anybody wants to have before voting?
I mean, I have several thoughts, but I don't know how relevant they are. I'll just note for my colleagues that I think one of the things I had mentioned to Sharon was an interest in diversifying our little group here, that while I think her perspective is helpful, and I was grateful that she brought it up in the application, she was able to articulately answer the importance of diversity and inclusion in the work that we're doing. I do think that approving her for appointment to the board does not necessarily fix the challenge that we currently have of having a much less than diverse group making these decisions for our city. So I'll just say that.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Andrew. I would agree with that. I mean, I think.
I'm sorry, Doug. I would agree with that, and then not necessarily vote no on her at all, but maybe ask to keep it open for more applicants. I don't know if that's appropriate or not.
Well, I mean, Andrew's term is up, right, at the end of December, and it has been open. I mean, Laura was the only applicant, is that correct? Or
Correct. There was, and I'd have to say that a lot of the city boards that are recruiting, the Civil Rights Board had no problem getting people. The Public Safety Review Committee had no problem getting people, but a lot of the other commissions are having a really hard time getting new commissioners in place just because of what's happening with COVID. There are not that many people applying.
I'm sure it's just the normal channels, but I mean, is there anything that we can do to make sure that we have outreach to people that might not necessarily be tuned in on this quiet board,
Well, it went out as an announcement on the city's Facebook page and web page. It went out to all the neighborhoods. It went out on Facebook on 2 or 3 different types of, like, the community Planning and Development Facebook page and the Imagine Kalamazoo Facebook page. We don't do it in the Gazette because nobody reads the Gazette anymore. And why pay for it? So really, we've done about as much outreach as we have for any other time. I think it's just a sign of the times right now with COVID. Now, technically, Andrew's term is up, but he could be reappointed to another term. And possibly, and then Andrew, maybe like next summer when things open up a little bit more, then you might say, look, I want to be done at the end of this year, and we could just go through another round and maybe get more people next year.
So let me ask Sharon, how many, let's say, how many openings would there be next year, short of somebody sort of stepping off before their term is done?
I would have to get up and see, but I don't think there's.
I don't think there's any, right? Like I think John and I have 2 years left.
Right, you two have 2 years left. I just went over this with the clerk's office. You two have 2 years, a couple years left, and then I don't think we're going to have any natural openings next year, unless someone decides that they want to just take time off. Now, keep in mind also,
if I was reappointed, I could then agree. I could resign at any time during that period of time. It's inconvenient for the board if I had to leave immediately, but if it was more with the view towards, part of I think my critique of this process would be, I think part of the reason why maybe we aren't getting a particularly diverse group applying for the position is that we also haven't really changed the way that we're recruiting for the position. And I don't know that there's necessarily, I will admit, I didn't do anything to try to recruit anybody to fill the role because I didn't know if that was appropriate. And I wouldn't know where to start. But maybe that would be something, if that's something that's important to my colleagues on the board, I'd be willing to make some efforts in that area to try to come up with a more diverse pool to fill the role. I think Laura would be delightful and great, and I think that she would work well with all of you. And I do think that when it comes to something like this, especially because it does have a socioeconomic impact on neighborhoods that are much more diverse than this group is, it remains a concern to me.
And
yeah, I would say, at least from my perspective, I agree with what Andrew's saying. I would say that bringing Laura on, we could challenge her and the board to fix that problem together. And I think she could be integral in helping us fix that based on her experience and what she has sort of what she articulated as her goals are. So I guess I just offer that for thought. That's all. That I think that we could, as a group, make that part of our goal, part of our mission, right? As John and I go off. Now it's a little far away, unfortunately, but I'm sure that we could work to sort of fix that. And I think that Laura would love to be part of fixing that based on what I heard today.
She might have a lot more contacts than we would.
Yeah, I agree with Andrew's concern, but I don't want to lose the opportunity to expand the focus and shift the focus that Laura would bring. Yes, it's not the ideal, but I don't think we're going to shift at all. That's my phone, sorry. I don't think we're going to shift at all without her.
Yeah, and she would be one of the youngest commissioners we've had in a long time.
And Andrew, your term is coming up and you are planning not to continue with the commission, or you're not allowed to do back-to-back terms, or how does that work?
No, I could have be up for another term. In conversation with Sharon, I noted that I would be more than happy to step aside in order to try to bring some more diversity to the group. I think I remember when I was recruited for the group, part of the conversation that was had was looking for some younger folks to get involved, which I was happy to be, although I don't know how much younger I really am anymore. I'm 32. But I would be happy to continue to serve if the group felt like they wanted to have some more time to actively recruit for this role, to try to diversify the organization more quickly than we'd be able to if we were waiting for the next natural vacancy to come up. I'm more than happy to continue. And also if the group is happy with Laura and happy with the constitution of the group, if I may vote against recommending her, but that would be my reason, not because I don't think that she would be good for the organization. I think that would be okay. We almost never disagree with each other in our voting, but that might happen.
Well, yeah, and I wouldn't want to give you the impression that I'm, I look at myself as new in the role here too, and your comments are always well pointed and worthwhile. So I wouldn't want to, give that impression at all that I'm trying to out with the old, in with the new, or anything like that. So that's why I asked, because I wasn't aware that you were coming due with a term. So
one thing I do want to mention that may be a factor as well is that I am planning on retiring this year at the end of June. And come on, had to happen sooner or later, but I'm still going to be around and still probably very involved with the survey, so I'll be here. And so I think that a stable commission that is not going to change a lot during that big transition might be a real benefit to whoever replaces me, not to have a bunch of terms ending all at once or have someone that needs to switch over partway through the year. So, there's another thing maybe kind of in favor of either Andrew staying for another year or Laura being appointed, because we'd have that stability over the year.
So I just wanted to interject really quick. Until we were discussing it right now, I don't know why, but it just went over my head that we should be actively trying to recruit more diverse members. And of course that makes sense. And I don't know, like it's just been, it just didn't hit me as a core focus of us. And of course it should be. And now it's on my radar as a focus, it will be. But I love your point of view, Andrew, on most all the things we talk about. And, if we did bring on a really green commissioner, before that person, almost no matter who it is, I mean, it takes quite a while before you feel comfortable enough and know how the commission works enough before you can really start making any changes or, what I'm saying there. But, and so like, it's going to, even if we brought her on, this was your last meeting we brought her on, it would take an incredibly long time before she was settled, and then we had natural people leaving. And so all that being said, I mean, I would love to just make a point for all of us, to reach out in our circles for, people that are not necessarily exactly like us, to step in and then apply. And in the meantime, retain Andrew, until we find someone, and that gives us time to really make it a focal point. And, and then if for whatever reason we don't find that person, they don't, people don't want to be on our board or whatever, then naturally you can resign anyway, and we can bring on, a new applicant then. But it would be nice just to have a little bit more time to figure it all out, especially if Sharon's leaving in June. So that's basically where I'm at. And I'm right there with you. I will probably vote no against her. Again, she seems super qualified to be on a board and has a passion for it. But instead of recruiting more, I guess, more white people to make a diverse board, I would say we just hold off and recruit more people that are diverse from the onset. So that's where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
So Sharon, I'm realizing that probably, me saying I'm willing to stick around after having posted the position is also slightly awkward. Is there any kind of rule or regulation about that?
No. No,
Okay.
it would just be a matter of I would need to send the same sort of stuff that I sent to have Dana reappointed to the clerk, and they would just, send it, give it to the mayor, and the mayor would reappoint. And because you can continue to serve until the official reappointment happens, so there would be no interruption in your involvement.
Okay. I mean, I would be happy to do that, especially if the board or the commission, if the commission would be interested in continuing to have discussions about down the line, perhaps once Sharon's replacement has come on through the middle of next year.
Yes, and that would, it sounds to me like that's what everybody is they're pretty comfortable with, the idea of you staying on, but that would also give the opportunity for us to, or for the commission to recruit a more diverse group, and for the new person who replaces me to be part of that process. So they'll become familiar with the process as well.
Sharon, this is a sort of separate question, but I think it's pertinent to the discussion we're having. Does our commission play any role in selecting your replacement? Are we participating in any of those interviews, or do we meet with the candidates at all?
We could. That has, I don't remember. It's been so long because I was hired in 2001. I honestly, I mean, I was serving on the Historic District Commission at the time, so I knew everybody there. I had just finished doing the citywide reconnaissance level survey, so I knew the Historic Preservation Commission. I do remember back when I was serving on the District Commission, though, we did interview, or at least talk to, not interview in the sense of thumbs up, thumbs down, but we did interview a couple of the candidates for the position. So yeah, we could absolutely, the commission could absolutely be part of that. Absolutely.
Hey, Sharon.
Yes.
I hate to chime in, but my sitter has since left the house. So I have a toddler running free in the house. So if you guys don't mind, I'm going to excuse myself and I will finish my notes from the recording.
Perfect.
Sorry, Sharon. Have a good night.
It's okay. Get them tamed.
Thanks. Bye.
So I have a couple questions. Typically, how many applicants do we get when we have an open position?
I think the most we've ever had is 4, and more commonly it's 1 or 2.
Okay.
And what I did with this one was I even went back to some of the people who had submitted applications like a year ago and asked them whether they considered their applications to still be active. One person responded and said no, and the other one, the contact information was no good anymore. So, so we can wait. I mean, we have I think a real gift here in the fact that Andrew can stay on. He's not term limited. He could stay on, and then we can take as much time as the commission wants to. I mean, we may get somebody new, get that person set up and really comfortable with the thing, and Andrew may decide like September, October, I'd like to be replaced, and then we start looking for someone to get him appointed by the end of the year. So, and with a chance for all the commissioners to talk to people that and to see if we can recruit someone from a more diverse background.
I guess the one thing I want to say is I appreciate the discussion, but I don't think we know anything about her background. I think we're talking about her appearance. And I just want to put that out there for the group, that diversity comes in many different ways, and it's not just the way somebody looks. And, so just some food for thought, that's all.
I appreciate that, Jeremy, and that is actually part of the reason why I asked the question that I did, because of course, having an open-ended way for someone to talk about their own experience with and representation within a diverse population is helpful. She didn't necessarily go that direction in her response, and I wasn't going to ask a follow-up because it didn't seem appropriate, but that is very fair.
Sure.
So the commission at this point does not need to make, you can either.
I'm thinking,
decide to make-
Sharon, that I should withdraw my motion at this point. If Andrew's thinking that he's going to continue, that's what I would like to
Yep.
do. Not the fact that I think this woman doesn't have credentials or interest in the same, but I do think it's really important for myself coming in as a new commissioner to actually have the experience of people who have been there and can ask these kind of good questions and help kind of get myself on my feet, kind of like, what are the way we roll? What are the things we're standing for and looking for? And how do we do things? So yeah, I would like to withdraw that motion if that's something that I can do.
Yep. So then I will, if the commission agrees that they would like to have Andrew continue for at least another partial term, and that we would all engage in some outreach for some more diverse possible commissioners. And if you want to, then I will contact Laura and tell her that Andrew has decided he wants to continue for another term. And that if she wants, I can keep her application active for another year. Then that way she may be one of the group that comes up next year. And, so that I can just do that. I'll take care of that. So we don't need to, the commission itself does not need to actually act beyond what we've already done with our discussion. So that way there's also not a record, but I mean, there's not something in the minutes that says that the commission denied that they wanted her to be a member, because that's not what we're saying at all.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'll just say one more time, I very much appreciate the discussion.
Mhm.
And I'll leave it at that.
So I think
that's it.
Yeah, I think that's it. I do want to remind everybody that we will definitely be meeting in January, even if there's a snowstorm, because we're going to do the training. We may have a consultation next month for I can't remember the address, but it's I can send you the address. There's a house on Monroe Street in West Main Hill that has been much altered on the front side. I mean, this is all done before it was a local historic district, and they really want to get rid of the double sliding door they have that's a front door for something a little bit more appropriate. So I recommended that they come to the next meeting and we just have a consultation. So if we don't have any applications, we might have a short consultation at the beginning of the meeting, and then we go into the training. So feel free to eat during the training. Sit there with your sandwich or your stew or whatever you want and eat while we're doing the training, but it'll all be virtual like we're doing today.
Great. All right. I appreciate everyone's time today, and I guess we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Andrew.
All right. Andrew
Second.
I'm sorry, I missed that. That was.
I'll second the motion.
All right. That was Eric for
That's
Casey
correct.
when she gets back. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing none, the meeting is adjourned.
And happy holidays, everybody.
Yes, happy holidays. Sharon.
Hey, Sharon,
question.
remind me again the time and date on that, January what?
It'll be the third Tuesday. I think it's the 19th. Let me see.
Oh, that's our regular meeting
Our
time.
regular meeting. Yeah, it'll be our regular meeting.
Okay, I thought it was
at
something in
5 o'clock.
addition.
No,
Okay, that's right. It was
regular time.
at 5 p.m.